Eun-ha was a poor young girl working as a maid in one of the biggest mansions in Seoul. Every morning she woke up before sunrise, tied her hair back, and walked quietly into the grand kitchen. She washed dishes, cleaned the floors, and served the wealthy family without complaint. But the other workers in the mansion never treated her kindly. They always mocked her, laughed at her, and reminded her of her poor background. One morning, as Eun-ha was scrubbing plates, two maids started laughing loudly. Maid 1. Look at her. She works like a machine. Eun-ha, don't you ever get tired of living like this? Maid 2. She doesn't belong anywhere except in the kitchen. Nobody will ever respect her. Not in this life. Everyone laughed. Eun-ha lowered her head, holding back tears. Eun-ha, softly. Please, let me do my work. I don't want any trouble. The laughter grew louder. To everyone, Eun-ha was just a poor, helpless girl. That evening, the mansion was preparing for an important guest. A luxury black car stopped outside. From it stepped Daniel Han, a Korean-American businessman in his late 20s. He was tall, handsome, and confident. The staff quickly lined up to welcome him. Butler. Welcome, Mr. Daniel Han. The master has been waiting for you. Daniel walked inside with calm confidence. As he entered, his eyes suddenly fell on Eun-ha, who was standing in the corner, holding a silver tray. She looked down, avoiding his gaze, but Daniel paused for a moment. Something about her face caught his attention. Daniel, thinking, that girl, she doesn't look like the others. Her eyes, there's something unusual about them. Dinner was served in the grand hall. Rich guests laughed and talked loudly while Eun-ha quietly poured drinks into their glasses. She kept her head low, hoping nobody would notice her. But then, one guest looked down and saw her old, torn shoes. Guest, mocking. Look at her shoes! She cannot even afford a proper uniform. What a shame for this mansion to have such a maid. The hall exploded with laughter. Everyone turned to look at Eun-ha, whispering and pointing fingers. Eun-ha froze in embarrassment, her hands shaking as she held the tray. But suddenly, Daniel stood up. His sharp voice cut through the noise. Daniel, angrily. Enough. Stop this at once. A person's worth is not defined by her shoes. The room went silent. Everyone stared in shock. A wealthy heir defending a maid. Nobody could believe it. Eun-ha stood frozen, her heart beating fast. Nobody had ever defended her before. She looked at Daniel, confused and shaken. Eun-ha, thinking, Why would someone like him protect me? Later that night, Eun-ha was back in the kitchen washing dishes. The other maids teased her again. Maid 1. So, Eun-ha, did you enjoy your moment of glory? The rich man actually spoke for you. Maid 2, laughing. Don't dream too much. A billionaire heir will never look at a poor maid like you. Eun-ha stayed quiet, but her heart was restless. Something about Daniel's eyes felt strange to her. Meanwhile, Daniel sat in his guest room, staring at his laptop. He was reviewing old family files connected to his business partners. Suddenly, he opened a document about a Chaebol family's lost daughter, a child who disappeared years ago in an accident. Daniel zoomed into the blurred photo. His heart skipped a beat. The eyes, they looked exactly like Eun-ha's. Daniel, whispering to himself, No, it can't be her. But those eyes, they're the same. He leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. Something inside him told him that Eun-ha was not just an ordinary maid, narrator, dramatic voice. The girl everyone mocked. The maid who was humiliated every day. Could she be the lost heiress of a billion-dollar empire? This was only the beginning of a story that would change everything. Eun-ha woke up the next morning with heavy eyes. She had not slept well. The memory of Daniel defending her at dinner kept replaying in her mind. Nobody had ever spoken for her like that. She didn't know whether to feel grateful or scared. In the kitchen, the other maids were already whispering. Maid 1, mocking. Oh, look. The star of last night is here, Maid 2. Careful, maybe she thinks she is special now. A billionaire noticed her. They laughed again. Eun-ha stayed quiet and continued cleaning. Later that day, a disaster happened. An expensive diamond necklace belonging to the mansion's mistress went missing. Panic spread through the mansion. The head butler gathered all the workers. Head butler angrily. "This necklace is priceless. Whoever is responsible will pay for this." Everyone looked at Eun-ha maid too, pointing. "She must have taken it. Who else? She is poor, she has nothing. Of course she would steal." The staff started murmuring in agreement. Eun-ha's face turned pale. Eun-ha, shaking her head. "No, I didn't take anything. I would never steal." But nobody believed her. Daniel, who had been walking down the hallway, heard the commotion. He entered the room. Daniel, calm but firm. "What's going on here?" The butler explained. Daniel's eyes moved to Eun-ha. She looked terrified, her hands trembling. Daniel, to Eun-ha. "Did you take it?" Eun-ha, teary eyes. "No, sir, I swear. I didn't." Daniel studied her face carefully. He could see the honesty in her eyes. Daniel, to staff. "Enough. If she says she didn't take it, then she didn't. I will find the real thief myself." The staff gasped. Why was Daniel protecting her again? That night, Daniel secretly checked the security cameras of the mansion. After hours of searching, he finally saw the truth. One of the arrogant maids had hidden the necklace in Eun-ha's room to frame her. Daniel closed his laptop, anger flashing in his eyes. Daniel, to himself. So this is what they do to her. No wonder she looks so broken. Next morning, the butler was about to punish Eun-ha when Daniel entered the hall holding the necklace. Daniel, coldly. "This was hidden in her room, but the camera shows who placed it there. Should I show everyone?" The guilty maid froze in fear. The staff was shocked. Daniel. "Let this be the last time you humiliate someone innocent. If this happens again, I won't forgive it." Everyone went silent. Eun-ha lowered her head, her heart full of emotions she couldn't understand. Eun-ha, thinking, why does he care so much? Why is he protecting me again? That night, Eun-ha sat alone in her small room. She remembered the way Daniel looked at her, the way his voice defended her. But in Daniel's room, things were not simple. He was still staring at the old blurred picture of the lost heiress. Daniel, whispering, "It really looks like her." Could Eun-ha be the girl who disappeared all those years ago? If it's true, then everything will change. Narrator, dramatic. The girl who was blamed for theft. The girl who was saved again by the mysterious heir. Her truth is still hidden. But how long can secrets remain in the dark? The mansion was quiet that morning, but Eun-ha felt restless. Ever since the necklace incident, people looked at her differently. Some staff avoided her, while others whispered behind her back. She carried the breakfast tray into the dining hall. Daniel was already seated reading a document. His sharp eyes lifted when she entered. For a moment, their gazes met. Eun-ha quickly lowered her head. Daniel, calmly. "Put it here." She placed the tray in front of him, her hands shaking slightly. Daniel, soft voice, surprising her. "Don't let their words break you. You did nothing wrong." Eun-ha froze. Nobody in her life had ever spoken to her so kindly. She wanted to say something, but she couldn't find the words. She quietly bowed and left the room. Later in the afternoon, the mansion was preparing for a large business meeting. Daniel was reviewing files in the study when he suddenly noticed Eun-ha struggling to carry a heavy box of supplies. He walked over and took the box from her hands. Eun-ha, shocked. "No, sir. I can manage, Daniel. Your hands are too small for this weight. You'll hurt yourself." Their fingers brushed for a brief moment, and Eun-ha felt her heart skip. She quickly stepped back. Eun-ha, nervously. "Thank you. But I don't want people to misunderstand." Daniel, serious. "Let them misunderstand. You don't have to live for their opinions." She looked at him, confused. Why was he always protecting her? That evening, a problem broke out in the mansion. The business partners were furious about a delay in the meeting arrangements. The head butler blamed Eun-ha, even though she had done everything correctly. Head butler, shouting, "This is your fault, Eun-ha. You always create problems." Eun-ha lowered her head, accepting the blame silently. But Daniel stepped in once again. Daniel, angrily, "Enough. Stop blaming her for everything. She has done her job." The butler froze, embarrassed in front of everyone. The other staff exchanged nervous glances. Late at night, Eun-ha sat alone in the garden, staring at the stars. She whispered to herself, "Eun-ha," softly. "Why is he always there? When I am about to break? Who is he really?" At the same time, Daniel was in his room again, staring at the old blurred photograph of the lost heiress. The resemblance was undeniable. Daniel, thinking, the way she speaks. Her eyes, it all matches. If she is really the heiress, then she has no idea who she is. He clenched his fist. "Daniel, firmly. I need to know the truth. But if she is the one, then protecting her will not be easy." Narrator, dramatic. A fragile maid and a powerful heir. Their worlds should never cross, yet destiny is pulling them closer. But with every step, danger is growing in the shadows. The mansion was busier than usual. Guests were arriving for a weekend party hosted by the family. Eun-ha moved quickly through the halls, carrying trays and setting tables. While she worked, some of the maids watched her with bitter jealousy. Maid 1, whispering, "Why does Daniel keep defending her?" Maid 2, angrily, "She's just a maid. But the way he looks at her, it's not normal. If she thinks she's special, I'll make sure she regrets it." In the grand hall, Daniel spoke with business partners, but his eyes kept wandering toward Eun-ha, who was carefully arranging flowers on the table. He noticed how other staff pushed her around, but she never complained. Later, when Eun-ha carried a tray past him, Daniel leaned closer. "Daniel, quietly. Be careful. They don't want to see you happy." Eun-ha, surprised, softly. Why do you care so much?" Daniel looked at her for a moment but didn't answer. Eun-ha quickly lowered her eyes and walked away, her heart racing. During the party, one of the wealthy young women, Ji-won, entered the mansion. She was elegant, confident, and clearly interested in Daniel. As soon as she saw him, she smiled brightly. "Ji-won. Daniel, it's been so long. You look even more charming than before." Daniel forced a polite smile. "Daniel. Ji-won. It's good to see you." Eun-ha watched from the corner as Ji-won clung to Daniel's arm. Something heavy twisted inside her chest. She didn't understand why it hurt to see him with another woman. Later that night, Eun-ha was cleaning up in the kitchen. Ji-won walked in, her sharp heels clicking on the floor. She stared at Eun-ha with cold eyes, Ji-won, mocking. "So you're the maid everyone is talking about. Do you enjoy following Daniel around? Don't forget your place." Eun-ha froze. Eun-ha, softly. I don't mean anything like that." Ji-won smirked. Ji-won. "Good, because people like you don't belong near people like him." She left, her perfume lingering in the air. Eun-ha stood still, holding back tears. Meanwhile, Daniel was in his room again, staring at the photo of the lost heiress. The puzzle in his mind grew stronger every day. Daniel, thinking, she looks just like Eun-ha. But if I am right, revealing the truth will destroy her world. Should I protect her or should I tell her? Narrator, dramatic. The jealous eyes of the rich have turned toward her. A fragile maid, a secret heiress, and a man caught between truth and danger. The storm is only beginning. The sun rose over the mansion. Eun-ha walked into the garden to pick flowers for the dining hall. She loved this quiet moment in the morning, when nobody was watching her. For a few minutes, she could breathe freely. As she arranged the flowers, Daniel entered the garden. He watched her silently for a moment, then spoke. "Daniel. You look peaceful here." Eun-ha, startled. "Oh. Sir, I didn't see you. I should get back to work." Daniel, gently. "You don't always have to run away." Eun-ha lowered her eyes. She didn't know why his words always touched her heart. Inside the mansion, the other staff continued to gossip. Maid 1. Why is Daniel always near her? He treats her differently. Maid 2. If this continues, people will think she's special. But she's not. She's just a poor maid. Their jealousy grew stronger each day. Later that day, Daniel received a call from his private investigator, Investigator, on phone. Mr. Han, I found more about the lost heiress case. The child disappeared 20 years ago after a car accident. She was never found, but records suggest she may have been taken to an orphanage nearby. Daniel's grip tightened on the phone. Daniel. Find the names of all the girls from that orphanage. I need the truth. He ended the call, his mind full of Eun-ha's face. That evening, Eun-ha was ordered to serve tea in the library. She carefully carried the tray, but as she walked in, she tripped over a loose carpet. The tray slipped from her hands, cups crashing to the floor. Head butler, furious. Clumsy girl! You can't even carry tea properly? Get out! Eun-ha bowed her head, her cheeks burning with shame. But before she could leave, Daniel stood up. Daniel, coldly. Enough. It was the carpet, not her fault. Fix the carpet instead of insulting her. The room went silent. Eun-ha looked at Daniel, shocked once again. Why did he keep defending her? Later that night, Eun-ha sat in her small room, holding her mother's old pendant, the only thing she had from her childhood. She whispered to herself, Eun-ha, softly. Who am I really? Why do I feel so different? Like I don't belong here? At the same time, Daniel opened his laptop again. His investigator had sent him a list of orphanage records. His eyes widened as he read one name. Eun-ha, Daniel, whispering. It really is her. She is the lost heiress. Narrator, dramatic. The pendant she holds. The name on the records. The truth is finally in sight. But will Daniel reveal it or will he keep it hidden? The secret grows heavier with every heartbeat. The morning was busy in the mansion. Workers rushed to prepare for another business meeting. Eun-ha moved quietly, trying to avoid everyone's eyes. She still felt embarrassed about the tea accident. As she walked through the hallway, her pendant slipped from her neck and fell to the floor. She quickly picked it up, but Daniel had already noticed. Daniel, pointing. That necklace. Where did you get it? Eun-ha, hesitant. It was my mother's. It's the only thing I have left of her. Daniel, serious. May I see it? Eun-ha hesitated but slowly placed it in his hand. Daniel's heart raced as he looked closely. It matched the exact description the investigator had given him. The missing heiress's pendant. Daniel, thinking. It's true. She really is the lost daughter. But he didn't say anything. Instead, he returned it to her. Daniel, calmly. Take care of it. It's more valuable than you think, Eun-ha, confused. Valuable? It's just old. She walked away, not understanding his words. Meanwhile, Ji-won noticed Daniel's growing attention toward Eun-ha. Jealousy burned inside her. Ji-won to herself. That maid, she's nothing. But Daniel looks at her as if she's someone important. I won't let her steal him from me. That evening, the staff gathered for dinner. Ji-won joined them, acting polite, but her eyes kept glaring at Eun-ha. Ji-won, mocking in front of everyone. How interesting. A poor maid wearing such a pendant. Did you steal it from the family? Everyone gasped. Eun-ha's face turned pale. Eun-ha, shaking her head. No, this is mine. It belonged to my mother. Ji-won, smirking. Really? A maid with jewelry like that? Sounds suspicious. The room filled with whispers. Eun-ha felt her throat tighten. Tears welled up in her eyes. Before she could speak, Daniel stood up. Daniel, coldly. Enough. She didn't steal it, and nobody will question her again. His words shocked everyone. Why was he protecting her so fiercely? Ji-won clenched her fists in anger. Later that night, Eun-ha sat outside in the garden, crying silently. Daniel approached her. Daniel, softly. Don't let them make you feel small. Eun-ha, teary-eyed. Why are you always protecting me? Who am I to you? Daniel looked at her, his heart heavy with the truth he was hiding. Daniel, thinking to himself, if I tell her now, her whole life will change. But how long can I keep it a secret? Narrator, dramatic. A pendant from the past. A truth Daniel cannot reveal. And jealousy burning in Ji-won's heart. The game of fate has only just begun. The mansion was full of noise that morning. Ji-won had stayed overnight, and her presence made everyone nervous. She acted as if she owned the place, giving orders to the staff. Eun-ha kept her head low and worked silently. But every time Ji-won saw her, she smirked. Ji-won, whispering to a maid, "Watch closely. That girl doesn't belong here. I'll make sure she disappears." In the study, Daniel discussed business plans with the board members. Ji-won entered with a bright smile and sat beside him, pretending to help. Eun-ha came in quietly to pour tea. Ji-won deliberately pushed her elbow, making the teapot spill. The hot liquid splashed across the papers. Ji-won, loudly, "Oh no! Look what she did! She ruined everything!" Everyone gasped. Eun-ha bowed quickly, Eun-ha shaking voice. I'm sorry. It wasn't..." But Daniel interrupted, Daniel coldly. "Enough. I saw what happened." He looked directly at Ji-won. "Daniel, don't try to blame her for your carelessness." The room went silent. Ji-won's face turned red with embarrassment. The staff exchanged shocked glances. Daniel had openly defended a maid over Ji-won. That night, Eun-ha sat alone, hugging her knees in her small room. Eun-ha, thinking, "Why does he always protect me? I should be grateful, but it only makes others hate me more." She touched her pendant, unaware of its hidden importance. Meanwhile, Ji-won met with the head butler in secret. Ji-won, angrily. "Daniel keeps defending her. Find out who that maid really is. I want every detail about her past." Butler, "Yes, miss, I will investigate." In his private room, Daniel stared at Eun-ha's orphanage record again. He clenched his fist, Daniel thinking, "She is the heiress. But if Ji-won discovers this before I reveal it, Eun-ha will be in danger." The next day, Eun-ha was ordered to serve tea for Daniel and Ji-won again. Ji-won smiled sweetly at Daniel, pretending to be perfect. Ji-won, "Daniel, you shouldn't waste your time with servants. People like her only bring shame." Eun-ha froze, her hands trembling as she placed the cup. Daniel's eyes darkened. Daniel, coldly, "You should be careful with your words, Ji-won. Respect is not only for the rich." Ji-won's smile vanished. She gritted her teeth but stayed silent. Eun-ha left the room quickly, tears forming in her eyes. She didn't understand why her heart hurt so much whenever Daniel defended her. Narrator, dramatic. Jealousy sharpens its claws, secrets grow heavier, and hidden eyes begin to watch. Eun-ha's identity is close to being exposed, but not by the man who wants to protect her. The atmosphere in the mansion was tense. Rumors about Eun-ha were spreading faster each day, the staff whispered behind her back, fueled by Ji-won's poisonous words. Eun-ha tried to stay focused on her work, but the looks she received made her chest feel heavy. That evening, Ji-won secretly met with the head butler again. Ji-won, coldly, "Did you find anything about that girl?" Butler, "Yes, miss. I discovered she came from an orphanage. No family, no background, nothing important." Ji-won, smirking, "Good. That means she's nobody. I'll make sure Daniel sees that." But what Ji-won didn't know was that Daniel was already a step ahead of her. Daniel sat in his office, reviewing the documents sent by his investigator. Every detail matched. Eun-ha's age, the timing of her arrival at the orphanage, even the pendant. Everything connected to the missing heiress. Daniel, thinking, "She doesn't know who she is. If the wrong people discover this, they'll destroy her." He closed the file, his eyes full of determination. The next day, Eun-ha was sent to deliver tea to the guest lounge, where Ji-won was waiting with her friends. Ji-won, mocking loudly, "Oh, look, the little orphan maid. Tell me, do you ever dream of becoming more than this? Or are you happy serving others forever?" Eun-ha froze, her hands shaking as she held the tray. The guests laughed cruelly, Eun-ha softly. I'm just doing my job." Ji-won leaned closer, her voice sharp. "Ji-won, remember this. You'll never be worthy of standing beside Daniel. Not in this lifetime." Eun-ha's chest tightened. She quickly left the room, holding back her tears. Later that night, Daniel found her in the garden again. She sat on the stone bench, staring at the moon. Daniel, quietly, "Don't let their words destroy you." Eun-ha, teary-eyed, "But they're right. I'm nothing. I have nothing. Why do you keep helping me? Who am I to you? Daniel's heart ached. He wanted to tell her everything, but the words stayed trapped inside. Daniel, thinking, if I tell her now, she won't be ready. But hiding it is hurting her more every day. Meanwhile, the head butler secretly followed Daniel's activities. He had noticed the files on Daniel's desk. That night, while Daniel was away, the butler sneaked into his office and opened the drawer. His eyes widened when he saw Eun-ha's orphanage records. Butler, whispering, "So that girl, she's not just a maid. She's someone important." He quickly took photos of the documents with his phone. Narrator, dramatic. A pendant that holds the truth. A butler with dangerous knowledge. And a girl caught in a storm of lies. The secret is no longer safe. The mansion was unusually quiet. Eun-ha went about her chores silently, unaware that danger was growing around her. The head butler, now armed with her orphanage records, had started plotting. That afternoon, Daniel held a small meeting with business partners in the main hall. Eun-ha was asked to serve tea again. She carefully placed the cups, avoiding everyone's eyes. Suddenly, one of the guests looked at her closely. Guest, curious. Wait. This girl, she looks familiar. Doesn't she resemble the late chairman's daughter? The room went silent. Daniel's eyes darkened immediately. Daniel, firmly. That's enough. She's just a staff member here. Eun-ha looked shocked. Why did Daniel react so strongly? In a hidden corner, the butler smirked to himself. Butler, whispering, so it's true. She really is the heiress. If I use this information, I can destroy her. And Daniel. He quickly sent the photos of the records to Ji-won. Later that evening, Ji-won stormed into Daniel's office. Holding her phone, Ji-won, angrily. So this is the reason you keep protecting her? That maid is the lost heiress, isn't she? Daniel froze but kept his composure. Daniel, coldly. Be careful with your words, Ji-won. Ji-won, furious. You think you can hide this from me? I won't let a servant steal what belongs to me. Daniel, she doesn't belong in this world. Daniel's eyes hardened. Daniel, firmly. If you harm her in any way, you'll regret it. Ji-won clenched her fists. Her jealousy had turned into dangerous rage. Meanwhile, Eun-ha sat alone in her room, still confused about Daniel's behavior. She whispered to herself, Eun-ha, softly. Why do people keep looking at me strangely? Why does he protect me so much? Who am I really? She touched her pendant again, as if searching for answers. That night, the butler secretly met with a mysterious man outside the mansion. He handed over the copies of Eun-ha's records. Butler, whispering. This girl is the heiress. If you want power in this family, use this information well. The man nodded with a dangerous smile. Narrator, dramatic. The truth is no longer hidden. Jealousy has turned into hatred, and betrayal has begun its game. Eun-ha's identity is in the wrong hands, and danger is closing in. The next morning, Eun-ha felt a strange tension in the mansion. The staff looked at her differently, as if they knew something she didn't. She kept her head down, unaware that her secret was slowly spreading. In the main hall, Ji-won arrived with confidence. She walked straight to Daniel, smiling sweetly, but her voice was sharp. Ji-won. Daniel, I think it's time everyone knows the truth about your little maid. Daniel, coldly. This is not the place for your nonsense. Ji-won, mocking. Nonsense. Then should I show everyone these records? The orphanage files, the pendant, her age, everything matches. She's the lost heiress, isn't she? The staff gasped. Eun-ha, who had just entered with a tray, froze in shock. Her heart pounded as Ji-won's words echoed in her ears. Eun-ha, whispering, heiress? What is she talking about? She looked at Daniel, desperate for an answer. Eun-ha, trembling. Sir, is it true? Daniel's jaw tightened. He wanted to protect her. But silence only made her fear grow. Ji-won stepped closer, her eyes burning with hatred. Ji-won, look at her. She doesn't belong here. She's been living as a servant, and you've been protecting her. Why? Because she's rich? Or because you're in love with her? The room erupted in whispers. Eun-ha's face turned pale. Eun-ha, shaking her head. No, this can't be true. I'm just a maid. She ran out of the hall, tears streaming down her face. Daniel chased after her and found her sitting in the garden crying. Eun-ha, sobbing. Tell me it's not true. Please tell me who I really am. Daniel, softly. Eun-ha, there are things you don't know. You're not just a maid. You are the daughter of this family. Eun-ha's eyes widened. Her hands trembled as she held her pendant tightly. Eun-ha, whispering, No, this can't be real. I don't belong here. Why didn't you tell me before? Daniel looked at her with pain in his eyes. Daniel, because once you know the truth, your life will never be the same. At the same time, Ji-won met secretly with the mysterious man the butler had contacted. Ji-won, furious. If she is really the heiress, then she's standing in my way. I want her gone. The man smiled coldly. Mysterious man, don't worry. I'll take care of her. She won't stay in this mansion for long. Narrator, dramatic. The truth has finally been spoken. The maid is the heiress. But while her heart breaks with confusion, dark forces move in the shadows to erase her forever. The mansion felt different after the truth came out. Eun-ha was no longer just a maid in the eyes of the staff. She was the missing heiress. But instead of respect, most people looked at her with envy and suspicion. Eun-ha wandered through the grand halls, her hands brushing against the expensive walls. They didn't feel like hers. She still felt like an outsider, Eun-ha, thinking, I've lived my whole life as nothing. And now they tell me I'm someone important. But I don't feel important. I feel lost. In the dining hall, the family elders gathered. Ji-won sat among them with a fake polite smile, but her eyes were sharp. Elder 1. If she really is the heiress, we need proof. Where has she been all these years? Elder 2. Yes, a pendant and some papers are not enough. She could be a fraud. Eun-ha stood silently, while everyone discussed her as if she wasn't even in the room. Eun-ha, softly. I don't want to take anything. I only want to work. The elders frowned. Elder 1. Work? You are supposed to be the daughter of this family. Learn your place. Ji-won smirked at Eun-ha's discomfort. Later, Daniel found her sitting alone in the garden again. Daniel, gently. You're too quiet. Eun-ha, sadly. They don't believe me. And I don't believe myself either. I don't belong here, Daniel. Daniel, firmly. You belong more than anyone. This place is yours. Don't let them push you away. Eun-ha looked at him with teary eyes. Eun-ha. But if I'm really the heiress, then why do I feel so small? Daniel wanted to hold her, to tell her she was not alone. But he stopped himself. His secret feelings could not be revealed yet. That night, the butler met again with the mysterious man. Butler, nervously. The family is starting to question her identity. This is our chance. Mysterious man, coldly. Then we'll destroy her before Daniel protects her again. Tomorrow, we start with her reputation. The next morning, Eun-ha entered the kitchen to find the staff whispering. Suddenly, Maid 2 shouted loudly, Maid 2, accusing. Check her room! She's been stealing from the mansion again. Everyone gasped. Eun-ha's face went pale. Eun-ha, shaking her head. No, that's not true. But before she could explain, the staff rushed toward her room. Narrator, dramatic. She carries the crown of an heiress, but the weight is heavier than she can bear. And now a trap has been set, a trap that could destroy her name forever. The staff rushed into Eun-ha's small room. Within minutes, Maid 2 pulled out a velvet box from under the bed. Inside was a set of expensive diamond earrings. Maid 2, shouting, Look! Proof! She's been stealing again! Everyone gasped. Eun-ha's face turned pale. Eun-ha, trembling. No, I've never seen that before. I didn't take it! Maid 1, mocking. Of course you'll deny it. But this is the second time something valuable was found with you. The whispers grew louder. Staff, murmuring. Maybe she really is a fraud. Maybe she lied about being the heiress. Tears filled Eun-ha's eyes. Eun-ha, whispering. Why does this keep happening to me? Just then, Daniel entered the room. His sharp eyes fell on the box. He picked it up, his expression cold. Daniel, firmly. Who found this? Maid 2, confidently. I did. It was under her bed. Daniel, glancing at Eun-ha. And you expect me to believe that she put it there herself? The maids froze, Daniel, angrily. Every time something goes wrong, you all blame her. Do you think I don't notice your games? He turned to Eun-ha, who stood frozen, her tears falling silently. Daniel, softly. Don't cry. I'll find out who's behind this. But in another corner of the mansion, Ji-won smirked as she watched. Ji-won, to herself. Keep protecting her, Daniel. The more you defend her, the more people will question her. Soon, everyone will turn against her. That night, Eun-ha sat in her room holding her pendant, Eun-ha, thinking, no matter what I do, they'll never accept me. Maybe I don't belong anywhere, not as a maid, not as an heiress. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed. Meanwhile, Daniel met with his investigator again. Investigator. Sir, I believe the butler is behind this. He has been contacting people outside the mansion. He might be working with someone against her. Daniel, serious. Then find out who it is, before it's too late. Daniel clenched his fists. Daniel, thinking. If they're planning to ruin her, I won't let it happen, even if I have to fight everyone. The next morning, a shocking announcement spread through the mansion. A meeting would be held with the elders to decide whether Eun-ha was truly the heiress, or a fraud. Narrator, dramatic. A trap has been set, lies have been planted, and now judgment awaits. Will Eun-ha's truth survive, or will her crown be taken away before she can wear it? The atmosphere in the mansion was tense. All the elders, relatives, and senior staff gathered in the grand hall. The long table was filled with papers, documents, and accusing eyes. Eun-ha stood at the center, trembling, while Daniel sat silently beside her. Ji-won entered gracefully, a confident smile on her face. The butler stood behind her like a loyal shadow. Elder 1, firmly. We are here today to decide the truth. Is this girl truly the lost heiress, or has she deceived us? Elder 2, coldly. Evidence of theft was found in her room. Such behavior does not suit an heiress. Whispers filled the room. Eun-ha lowered her head, tears threatening to fall. Ji-won, mocking tone. She was just a maid. Do you really believe she suddenly turned into an heiress? A thief in maid's clothing. That's all she is. Eun-ha looked up, her voice shaking. Eun-ha, I don't want your money. I never asked to be called heiress. All I wanted was to work honestly. But someone keeps framing me. Ji-won smirked and leaned closer, Ji-won whispering, blame me all you want. No one will believe you. At that moment, Daniel stood up, his presence commanding silence. Daniel firmly. Enough. She is not a thief. I have investigated every incident, and I know who has been planting evidence against her. The elders looked at each other in shock. Elder 1. Then tell us, Daniel. Who is behind this? Daniel's eyes swept across the room before landing on the butler. Daniel, coldly. It's him. The butler. He has been working with outside forces to destroy her reputation. And Ji-won. She is the one pulling the strings. The hall erupted in murmurs. Ji-won's face turned pale for a second, but she quickly recovered. Ji-won, laughing. Do you have proof? Or is this just your way of protecting your favorite maid? Daniel raised a folder and placed it on the table. Daniel. Phone records, bank transfers, and surveillance footage, all showing the butler working with an outsider, right after every incident. The elders leaned forward in shock. The butler's face turned white, Elder 2, angrily. Is this true? The butler stammered, unable to speak. Ji-won glared at him furiously. Meanwhile, Eun-ha looked at Daniel with wide eyes, her heart pounding. Eun-ha, thinking. He risked everything to protect me again. Just as the elders were about to announce their decision, the mysterious man burst into the hall, his eyes dark and dangerous. Mysterious man, shouting, Don't believe them! That girl cannot be the heiress. If she stays, this family will be destroyed. Everyone gasped. Eun-ha froze, fear gripping her heart. Narrator, dramatic. The truth has come to light. But the enemy has stepped out of the shadows. The real battle for Eun-ha's identity has just begun. The grand hall fell into chaos as the mysterious man stormed in. His sharp eyes scanned the room, finally locking onto Eun-ha. She froze, her body trembling. Mysterious man, shouting, "She is not the heiress? I was there when the real daughter disappeared." The elders looked shocked. Daniel stepped in front of Eun-ha protectively. Daniel, coldly. "And who are you to claim such things?" Mysterious man, smirking. "Someone who knows the truth. The girl you are protecting, she's just a replacement. A fake chosen to fool you all." Gasps echoed through the room. Eun-ha's legs weakened, but she forced herself to speak. Eun-ha, shaking voice. "I don't even know who you are. Why are you saying this? What do you want from me?" The man sneered. Mysterious man. "You want to know? Then ask about the fire. The fire that killed your parents." Everyone in the hall fell silent. Eun-ha's eyes widened in shock. Eun-ha, whispering, "The fire?" Daniel clenched his fists, his eyes burning with fury. Daniel angrily. "Enough games! If you know something, speak clearly. Who caused that fire?" The man smirked and glanced at Ji-won. She stiffened, but quickly masked her face with a calm smile. Mysterious man, mocking. "Not me. But someone here knows more than they admit." The elders grew restless. Elder 1. "What is the meaning of this? Why bring up the past now?" Elder 2. "If there are secrets about the fire, we must uncover them. The heiress's identity depends on the truth." That night, Eun-ha sat in her room, her mind spinning. Eun-ha, thinking, "All my life I wondered why I had no family. And now they say my parents died in a fire, but who caused it? Who wanted them gone?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. Meanwhile, Ji-won cornered the mysterious man in a dark corridor. Ji-won, furious, whispering, "Why would you bring up the fire?" "That was not part of the plan." Mysterious man, smirking. "Plans change. If the truth comes out, you'll lose everything. Should I tell them what you did that night?" Ji-won's face turned pale. Ji-won, shaking. "You wouldn't dare." The man leaned closer, whispering in her ear. Mysterious man. "Watch me." Back in the study, Daniel spoke with his investigator. Investigator. "Sir, we found new records. On the night of the fire, the butler was not where he claimed to be. And Ji-won. She has ties to the company that profited right after your parents' death." Daniel's jaw tightened. Daniel, thinking, "So it's true. This was not an accident. Someone wanted the heiress gone from the beginning." He looked toward Eun-ha's room, determination burning in his eyes. Daniel, softly, "I'll protect her, no matter how dark this truth becomes." Narrator, dramatic. The past has returned with flames of betrayal. A fire that destroyed her family may have been no accident, and the ones closest to her may be the true enemies. The night was heavy with silence. Eun-ha sat in her room, clutching her pendant tightly. For the first time, fragments of her childhood began to surface. Blurred images, muffled screams, and the smell of smoke. Eun-ha, thinking, "That fire. The one they mentioned? Was I there? Did I survive it?" She closed her eyes and suddenly a vivid memory returned. Flashback, many years ago, a little girl hid under a table. The room was filled with smoke, flames rising quickly. She could hear her mother's voice. Mother, shouting, "Stay down! Eun-ha! Don't move!" Her father rushed to the door, shouting at someone outside. Father, angrily, "Why are you doing this? We trusted you." The door slammed. The sound of laughter echoed. The little girl cried as her mother wrapped her arms around her. The last thing Eun-ha saw was her father falling to the ground before everything went black. Flashback ends. Eun-ha woke up with tears streaming down her face. Eun-ha, whispering, "It wasn't an accident. Someone wanted us gone." The next morning, she walked into the hall where Daniel was waiting. Daniel, gently, "You didn't sleep, did you?" Eun-ha, serious, I remembered something. The fire, I was there, and my parents, they were murdered. Daniel's face darkened, but he wasn't surprised. Daniel, quietly. I feared you would remember. That's why I tried to protect you. The ones responsible are still here, and they'll do anything to silence you. Eun-ha looked into his eyes, trembling. Eun-ha. Then tell me, Daniel. Do you know who did it? Daniel hesitated but didn't answer. Meanwhile, in a hidden room, Ji-won confronted the mysterious man again. Ji-won, furious. You're trying to ruin me. If you tell her the truth about that night, mysterious man, cutting her off. You were there when the fire started. Don't forget, Ji-won. If she remembers everything, you're finished. Ji-won's eyes burned with fear and anger. Ji-won, whispering. Then I'll make sure she doesn't live long enough to remember. Later that evening, Eun-ha walked through the mansion gardens, the memory haunting her. Suddenly a shadow moved behind her. She turned and saw the butler standing there holding a piece of paper. Butler, coldly. Your past doesn't belong to you anymore. If you keep digging, you won't survive. Eun-ha froze, her heart racing. Narrator, dramatic. The forgotten memories are returning, and with them comes the truth of betrayal. But the closer she gets to the flames of her past, the closer danger comes to burning her future. The mansion was restless. Eun-ha's memories of the fire had shaken everyone. The staff whispered in corners, the elders demanded answers, and Daniel grew more protective than ever. But danger was already moving closer. That evening, Eun-ha walked through the library, searching for more clues about her parents. Old family records lay scattered on the table. She ran her fingers over a photograph of her mother, tears welling in her eyes. Eun-ha, softly. Mother. What really happened that night? Suddenly she heard footsteps. The butler entered, his face calm but his eyes sharp. Butler, coldly. You shouldn't be here, young miss. The past is dangerous. Stop searching, or you won't like what you find. Eun-ha stiffened. Eun-ha, nervously. Why do you keep saying that? What are you hiding? The butler stepped closer, lowering his voice. Butler, whispering. I was there, Eun-ha. I saw everything. Her eyes widened. Eun-ha, trembling. You know who caused the fire? But before he could answer, Daniel entered the room. The butler immediately straightened and bowed, his face unreadable. Daniel, suspiciously. What are you doing here? Butler, calmly. Only ensuring the young miss doesn't wander too far. Good night. He left, but not before giving Eun-ha a chilling smile. Later that night, Eun-ha sat with Daniel in the garden. Eun-ha, whispering. He said he knows what happened. Daniel, I'm scared. What if the butler is involved in my parents' death? Daniel clenched his fists. Daniel firmly. If he is guilty, I'll make sure he pays. But until then, you must not trust anyone, not even those closest to you. Eun-ha looked at him with wide, fearful eyes. Eun-ha, not even you. Daniel froze. His heart ached, but he couldn't answer. Meanwhile, Ji-won sat in her room with the mysterious man. Ji-won, angrily. The butler is growing reckless. He might expose everything. Mysterious man, smirking. Then let him. If she learns the truth, it will only destroy her. Ji-won clenched her jaw. Ji-won. No. If she learns the truth, it will destroy me. That's why Eun-ha must disappear. The next day, Eun-ha entered the dining hall. The elders were waiting for her. One of them slid a document across the table. Elder 1, coldly. This paper claims that you were never the true heiress, that you were adopted by the late chairman's family after the fire. Can you deny this? Eun-ha's eyes widened. She looked at the paper in shock. Eun-ha, whispering. Adopted? No. That can't be true. Her hands trembled as she tried to speak, but her voice broke. The elders exchanged suspicious looks. Ji-won smiled triumphantly from across the table. Narrator, dramatic. She searches for truth, but every answer cuts deeper than the last. And now, A betrayal has been planted in her heart, one that could shatter her identity forever. Like, share, and subscribe.